Sorry to everybody, it was your last time I had to run out. I had some
Actually, I think you should tell them the story because I thought it was remarkable.
Well, I was sitting here and I wasn't feeling that well. I went home, went to bed, and then I checked myself into the ER that night and had my gallbladder out the next day.
Whoa!
So
you're back.
So here's this is
amazing. Yeah,
serious
I've got what
like
looks like a
recovery.
pitchfork wound in my chest and a little cut in my belly button, and they pulled out my gallbladder through that. So.
Well,
laparoscopically.
Yeah, laparoscopically. So
there's a fridge full of beer just for you for coming back after all that. Thank you.
That's for sure. So anyways, last time was great, and I talked with the guy Justin before this started. I wanted to present, but obviously wasn't feeling well. So I've been wrestling with this idea for a couple months that I saw this story on Reddit.com. I don't know if you guys ever go on there. I'm a big nerd, and so I'm on there all the time, probably too much. And there's a story about a guy who liked some guy's software, and but he didn't want to pay the $30 that he was charging for it. And he says, "Look, I like your software. I can see paying $10 for it, but not what you're charging." And the developer responded and said, "You know what? I'll do you one better. I'll give it to you for free if you go and you tweet about it, put it on your Facebook page, write a blog post, maybe write a review somewhere. Do a few of those things, and I'll send you over a free version of my $40 software." I'm not sure on the number, but it was something like that. And it kind of clicked for me. Like, I've been doing some work with this consulting firm in the past few years, and they, we have a lot of clients, and they always come to us wanting to be like, "Oh, should we sign up for this service? It's going to get me 1,000 Twitter followers. It's going to get me this many Facebook fans." And we always say no. They're like, "Those are fake Twitter followers. They aren't genuine. They aren't real. It's not worth it. Don't waste your money." And I think people are really getting that there's this value to genuine, brand kind of recognition within social networks, getting genuine followers, getting genuine conversation. And this developer, I don't know what his margins were on his software, but he's like, okay, I could from this guy get $10, or I could get all of this out of him. And so what that kind of says to me is that there's these producers of whether it's a product or a service, they're willing to pay a certain price to get someone to tweet or to post to Facebook or to do something similar. And the interesting thing that I see from that is for all of us in the room, like we have a Twitter account or a Facebook account, the cost of us doing that in terms of our time, our willingness is very low. And so if there's this big difference in, hey, this guy's willing to spend $10 and I'm willing to do whatever on my Twitter account because it takes me 2 seconds and I don't really care, right? That there can be some kind of exchange there. Now, people have built advertising networks on Twitter, but that just doesn't seem to work because as soon as you have it's kind of an ingenuine interaction, and so people stop listening to the advertising that's going out. So I had this idea, and I know that Twitter Terms of Service and API allows you to post whatever you want with your application. So imagine some guy who's a producer of something says, "Hey, you want to get our software? Are you a champion of ours? You want to get our software for free or get like a trial or a 20% off coupon or something like that? Tweet about us, and then we'll send you the coupon," right? And so what if you could build a service that kind of makes that really easy for everyone? Even maybe where I'll tweet about this, do these certain things, track metrics on that stuff, and once they get traffic from Twitter, Facebook, etc., then you send them their free software or something like that. Kind of bypassing. So I like to call these people champions because they already like your product, they want your product. They maybe just don't have the money that they don't feel like they want to pay that much for it, but they would be willing to trade some of their social clout to return that. And so the interesting thing is if you can take one of these offerings, let's say it's a 20% off coupon, and somebody likes it, let's say it's it's kind of like the Groupon incentive, like, cool, look at this coupon I got, and you tweet about it, then there's a link in there that takes other people to the same place where it says, hey, help us spread the word, tweet about this, and we'll send you the coupon too. So then all of a sudden you get this snowball effect, where not only do you get that first person, and they're not just promoting a page, but they're promoting this interaction, that it snowballs into kind of this viral tree. There's one other advantage to that too, is if you can track all this stuff, you can find out who your really influential people are, who your influential champions are. So imagine, Jeff here tweets and everybody in this room tweets about it too, but Jeff started that ball rolling. He's really valuable, and if you can identify Jeff, then that saves you a lot of time with all of this customer service stuff that everybody's already doing already on Twitter, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know, those are the big three is growing your social following, monetizing your social following, and identifying your key influencers in your social following.
I like it a lot. If I understand correctly, basically what you're talking about is like sort of understanding the value of somebody who is the super fan.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is something I think is huge. So a company called Flowtown is trying to kind of sort of model this. Not really, but like they're doing like more like the social marketing, but they're not really modeling like obviously like how sort of influential they are. Obviously Clout, the company you referenced, is, but it's like all they do is really give you a score, and it's kind of like your credit score. You have no real idea how it was derived.
Right, and the thing is with Clout too, they'll tell you who's influential, and they're like Barack Obama.
Right, it's just like,
but who's influential? I mean, I sell, you know, computer chips like for R&D labs. Actually, Kutcher's not going to help me out with that.
Sure.
But there's a bunch of nerds on Facebook and Twitter that really are, all their friends are, you know, in R&D labs here and there, or coffee fanatics, or whatever it might be.
Hey, you need startup coffee.
You need to find the influencers that are specific to you, and what better way than to actually take real metrics from real traffic?
Yeah.
Kind of.
No, I like it a lot.
Is the business model?
That's the hard part. I mean, so I mentioned Groupon earlier,
we're supposed to come up
and I think that's the difference with Groupon is that Groupon wants one deal a day, and this is something that people could run continually and kind of iterate on, like, oh, this 20% coupon, it didn't work so well, but we're willing to grow more, and so let's do a 30% coupon. That's a big complaint with Groupon.
There's a company called Streetwise.
Streetwise?
It was really big in DC when I was in high school. And what they would do, you would go on and fill like a little online profile. And so I was an 18-year-old girl at the time, so I was like, oh my god, I love makeup. So then a makeup company would send me a bunch of makeup and a bunch of stickers to hand out to my friends, and then I got a bunch of that.
Yeah.
And then there was like all the guys were into like football, so then they would get like certain stuff to hand out.
Yeah,
so
I know there's companies that do that with like frats and beer and other stuff. Like they'll send out like beer promotions.
Or startup events and beer.
There we go, or startup events and beer. Other than coffee, it's coffee to wake up and beer to end the evening.
You're right. So, well said.
Yeah, I mean, even actually identifying those champions and rewarding them, like say, I mean, that might be, I imagine a central hub to kind of say, look, like, this makeup company is rewarding all of their top champions with these extra gifts, you know, like imagine getting like a big bundle because you send a whole bunch of traffic and all your friends, you know, they've identified you as valuable to the company.
I feel like there's got to be something out there that measures this. Is there nothing? I can't think of anything other than Cloud, but...
Yeah, I mean, you know, some of the Bitly stuff and some of the URL shorteners, they do analytics to see which tweets get traffic.
Right, and they're just checking the actual link itself.
Right, and the nice thing that I was thinking is that anyone who sends out this message, so this is another little positive. I've got friends in the marketing side, I'm a tech guy, but on Twitter they don't have much, you don't have much brand messaging control, like you don't have much control over it, people just say what they want to say.
Right.
And this you could actually lock down and tweet an exact message that you kind of approve given out, and then, but when you do that, we put in your own little URL shorten for everybody who does it. So you can really see how that influential network spreads out.
Who's influential, who isn't.
Who's influential. So if it's like let's say Jeff, you know, someone sees it off Jeff's profile, Aisha sees it off Jeff's profile, but then everybody sees it off her profile. Even though he was first, you could identify then that Aisha was the one who really had the big impact, you know?
I like it.
And he's valuable too because Aisha listens to him.
So what you're talking about almost is like the monetization of a friend network.
Exactly, yeah.
Like
that's a huge idea.
Right, like a business model around that.
Yeah.
I mean, let's say one person has like 1 million followers or whatever, and all of a sudden he says, oh, Best Buy is coming out with this amazing game or whatever. You could be able to track whoever clicks through like some highlighted link, and the way to generate the revenue would be, you know, whoever actually buys something from Best Buy, not only the game, but then also like, you know, everything else. And so like it could go to the popular person, and then also to the, you know, the company that made this algorithm that can track all this.
Right, right.
Yeah, I think it's a real good idea. in terms of monetization and spending a lot of time in the ad space, advertisers are going to pay for customer acquisitions and people actually going to the store and using a coupon or promotion. So if you can track how many people use a coupon that they click through based on your Twitter feed or whatever.
Right.
And then for a revenue model, if it's a 30% coupon, you would get 10% or whatever the percentage is. And that's how you would monetize it, based on how many people use the coupon and make a purchase at the store.
And that's one idea is like stuff with commission junctions, being able to set up your own.
You're talking about like a unique link for each coupon?
Well, there would be a unique coupon that you'd be pushing to your Twitter friends.
I got you.
And based on that coupon, the retailer can track how many redemptions they got that coupon.
Yeah, so it's that's kind of like a commission junction kind of model, right? Like basically, like the company could be the person who, say you put out this coupon and whatever traffic we drive, and you might get a cut from that. I'm not really sure because the tricky part is maintaining that really, really genuine, like I like this product a lot, and I want it, and I'm gonna get a 20% discount on this too. Like Groupon's like pork store,
right?
50% off. I love pork store.
The other thing too,
I'll send it to my friends in a heartbeat because I'll be kind of cool and they'll love me for sending it to them.
Would you encourage a lot of people to be making fake Twitter accounts?
See, that's the thing. I don't think that works. That doesn't work, right? Because as soon as you do that, then
those people don't have real followers.
They don't have real followers. They get unfollowed. I mean,
same thing. Like Facebook went with this a long time where they were like, those accounts are going to have actual friends.
Yeah, which is like, I mean, when Twitter first started to get big, a bunch of like little organizations popped up, like pay X number of dollars for so many followers. You pay that many dollars, and then it doesn't mean anything. Like you have no real influence. And so it's tricky. The business model, I think, is really tricky because you need it. The business model itself needs to maintain that genuine persona.
Right. Like I keep thinking that if you do this wrong, it's going to just make everyone look like someone hacked.
I think the idea behind it is awesome.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. It's just like the execution. It's very
well, like we were talking about earlier. The technical part is easy.
It always is, right?
Right.
Is there a way to have some sort of mobile app or component to it where, based on the information I got from Twitter or a link I got, and I actually went into the store off of that link? Is there a way to track a person walking into that store and making a purchase, or
Well, that's the other thing is like there's e-commerce stores, there's lots of stuff in the virtual world, but maybe there's a space for this with real world stuff. I mean, I read something about printable coupons are huge for people, and like I love using my Groupon on my iPhone where I just don't have to worry about it. I know it's on there, and I just show up and it's got the number. If you could do that and walk into a store and then have that customer acquisition, which is like what Groupon sells people on, like, hey, I've got this coupon, and that shows value to the company, and so maybe like a subscription model for small businesses, and depending on their traffic, scale up subscription models. I mean, there's definitely enough businesses in the world who are doing social media, Twitter, Facebook stuff to kind of fund something like this. I think so.
Unfortunately, that is time, so we gotta move on. But awesome comments. Again, this video will be up tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alright, there's one more slot left. So if you've been sitting here kind of on the fence, you're thinking about, maybe I'll talk about something, but I don't want to be the next person. This is your last chance. So look, here's the thing. None of these things